Welcome to the Oh So Spurs podcast, where we are celebrating as we have made it through into the fourth round of the FA Cup. And I don't think we've done a pod since our last victory, have we? Yes, we have. So we're off 2 wins on the bounce, and we've also just about to sign Timo Werner. So today we'll be discussing where he fits in, why Ange sees him as an appealing option despite the criticism some people have had of him and his flaws as a player. And also Dragusin, a player for Genoa, who's a centre-back, a bit more about him, his playing style, how he'd fit in. And there's also another centre-back we're being linked with as a potential backup and where that fits into conversation. Today, with us to discuss this all is Sai. How are you, mate? In your retro Spurs top, looking good?
Hey, good, mate. Thanks. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you, Sai. We got Stu back in Dubai. How are you, mate?
All good. Happy to be back on after a month away.
It was great to see you at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium over the Christmas break. Glad to see you back this safely.
Amazing to meet you all, boys.
It was very good. And Johnny, how are you, mate? Over in Dublin?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Looking forward to being educated by you, because I'll be honest. Yeah, I'm not an expert on any of the stuff you've just. I didn't even watch the whole Burnley game because it was somebody's birthday in my family. So, but it doesn't look like I missed too much. But good to see you all. Good to have 4 of us here instead of 3 or 2. So yeah, picking up from these slackers that were dodging the pods the last few weeks. You keeping well yourself, Jim?
I'm keeping well indeed. Good. When Spurs are flying, I'm flying. I was saying this morning in the WhatsApp group, everyone, like, how football is such a curse that I'm lying in bed Sunday morning, the day of rest, with my beautiful wife and son next to me, with a cup of tea, and all I'm thinking of is, but if Van der Ven's out, and if Davies isn't ready either, who is going to play left centre-back for Spurs when we play Man United? Maybe that's a discussion for later on in the pod. But let's start with the Burnley game, shall we? It was kind of received with mixed feedback from the fan group. We won. Sai, what did you make of the game overall?
It felt like a bit of a nothing game. It was looking at the pre-game commentary with Righty and the such, like it was a goal fest. They're both going to go at it. Oh, it's the total opposite end of the scale, wasn't it? It was a bit of a tough watch. I don't think we looked in any particular trouble at any point until maybe the final kick of the game, where it should have been equalised, and they should have took us back to Turf Moor for the replay, potentially. But I don't think that there was any time in that game where I thought we were in danger of losing it. We looked a little bit lacking of ideas in the final third, and I think that Ange has said that a number of times over the last few weeks, that there's so much more improvement that there needs to be in that final third, and that brings us maybe onto Werner a little bit later. We'll have that discussion. But we looked like we didn't know what to do when we got around the box again. We were trying to get to the byline. They knew we were. They were doubling up on Johnson quite a lot. And you know, what a wonderful goal from Porro. And yeah, what a great player he's turning into for us. And it just the energy and the delight on his face when he scored, and in the interviews after the game. I mean, you're just loving the guy more and more every time. And yeah, so it was. And as Anne said afterwards, listen, the cup games are the ones where you just got to get through. You've got to get through. It wasn't an easy game. They didn't make it an easy game for us. They played a sort of alien football for them, really. They sat back quite deep and they defended quite tightly around the box and tried to hit us on the break, and they did that quite badly. And that led to us, I don't know what the final stats were, but at some point in the first half, I think we'd had 72% possession. And you know, and with teams sitting that deep, it's always difficult to break them down. So I think it was one of them. We probably deserved the win, but they feel that they probably deserved a draw out of it. With I think they had 2 chances throughout the whole game, or 2 big chances according to Opta that they missed. Yeah, so it could have been a draw, but you know, we snuck through. We're through to the next round. Job's done, really.
Yeah, Burnley did set up really well, to be fair to them. Considering they rested 5 or 6 players, I thought Company. I was really, really sceptical of even the idea of him managing Spurs. And actually, like, I think Stu's mentioned it before a few times this season, where it's like, yeah, but you've got to kind of like look at what his tools are at disposal, is basically what he's insinuating, even though they're, you know, looking like they might go back down again. I thought he tactically did really, really well at managing to play some decent looking football as well. He looks like he's a manager who's going to have a strong career in the Premier League in the future. But Stu, what did you make of your? You've got family members who live in Burnley and support Burnley. So, what's the kind of views from your side with your Tottenham hat on? And did they give any feedback as Burnley fans of how they felt the game went?
Surprisingly enough, I've not heard a single word from anyone, including my dad. They've all gone very quiet. I think we probably played them at a bad time because they've actually, results-wise, perhaps it hasn't shown, but they've actually been playing a lot better the last month or so. And they've probably deserved to get a lot more out of the games that they've played in the last month, points-wise. I think he set them up well. I think he's sacrificed his total football a little bit more and become a little bit more solid. And that's what we struggled with. And I also think they benefited from the fact that our squad is absolutely knackered. We don't have the possibility to rotate players, and some of them were just, you could see they're running out of energy. The one I was disappointed in was Kulu, because he had the day off, the match before, and I was expecting him to be a little bit more on the ball, and I thought he was a little bit below par. But also, Si, you were saying you're never really worried, and I would agree they didn't do much. I think shot-wise, they had about, I think it was 16 to 10 in our favor, but I think only one of theirs was on target. But they should have scored in the first half.
Agreed.
If that forward's first touch wasn't that bad, and even then, I think he should have got it on target. So I think we were quite lucky there. And that last minute one, that last second almost, I was, heart in mouth, just thinking the last thing we need is to go up north and have a replay.
Yeah.
But yeah, fortunately, we got through, and at the end of the day, that's all you need. It's a cup. It's we're in the next, we're in the hat for the next round, and move on, and hopefully we'll have a couple more new faces in the squad, and old faces back fit.
Agree, Johnny. Do you agree with Stu and Si, or is there anything you disagree with there?
No, I certainly don't disagree with anything. I think there are a couple of things that they didn't mention, because I certainly wouldn't be able to add anything really in terms of the game. It was dull. I missed the first 20 minutes, and I believe that was the most entertaining part of the game, which tends to be the way with Spurs these days. But I guess a couple of things of note with Ryan Sessegnon's return. I don't know how we feel about that, which is it's been a long time since he's been on the pitch. And obviously Dane Scarlett's come back in from Ipswich on loan and made about a 10-minute cameo or something. He looked all right, actually. He had a couple of shots, kind of. He had one that I don't think took a deflection and got a corner. I don't know what was happening, whether it was on target or not. For me, the other player that was just really, we've had this conversation with Richarlison before he kind of started finding his feet and scoring goals again, but the kind of Brian Heel debate, I think, is really starting to crank up, and I'm very much kind of in the as I was with Richie. I really wanted Richarlison to come good, and especially with the outlay that we had. But when you think of Brian Heel cost, whatever it was, about 25 mil plus Lamella, something in and around that, and you think what we've got in return is so far off what that kind of outlay really meant and means for Spurs. Like I love those kinds of players. I think we want to have the kind of the Modric sort of the skillful, whether they're obviously not very bulked up or not. That's kind of the classic conversation around him. And you just watch him running around. It's like a kid in a school match. They've got a lot of talent with the ball at their feet. They the ball sticks to their feet and everything. But it's like he's going around and he doesn't know where he's going, or he's to try and maintain balance and hold players off. It's just not happening for him. And I'm really starting to question personally, does he have any kind of a future at Spurs? I know there were some people in the group yesterday saying, well, making comparisons to other players. I'm not really sure were valid comparisons. I certainly think, Bale took a long time to get to the level he reached, but he was never really physically in the same kind of. I know he was quite skinny, but he was still broad and tall and everything. And Heel, I'd love it to work, but I just don't see it happening. And I think the game the other day, he got most of the second half. And to me, he looked like he was just, again, not fit for that sort of a physical matchup that the English football really is demanding of a player. So I suppose that's the sort of other takeaway. The main thing is we're in the hat, obviously, for the fourth round. We can watch the Arsenal-Liverpool game later on today and enjoy whichever one of them loses. Obviously, kind of by default, you want the Goons to go out, but in some ways, I'd prefer Liverpool to go out because I think Arsenal are more likely to lose to somebody else. I think Liverpool are more team I would fear more further down the line. So I, and the last interjection, which I'm taking a risk to sharing on, and I probably really shouldn't say this, but I've started now. So,
oh, here we go.
Here we go.
So you can all blame me. You can all blame me when we go out in the fourth round and we draw Man City. Well, actually, we're all right against Man City, aren't we? But I was speculating about the final, and I was thinking, and this is really stupid, but it's the 25th of May, and I was Googling away as you do. And I was looking at the price of flights from Dublin to London, and they're really expensive already. And I was thinking, okay, what do I do? Do I wait until April and I wait till we've won the semi-final before I book the flights? Or do I say, okay, I'll have a weekend in London if it goes... There's only like 32 teams left in the tournament in the fourth round. So
that's that then.
Yeah.
Johnny.
So
cheers, John.
I won't tell you whether I booked a flight or anything, but they're only going to go more expensive.
Johnny, I'm not kidding. Every single season, when I'm booking the family holiday, I never book on final 2 or 3 games of the Premier League season because I'm picturing what if we were to win the league on one of those 3 games, the FA Cup finals day, and also when we're in Europe, the European finals day.
Never.
And I know it's silly, but this year in particular, it doesn't actually feel that silly to think. I don't think anyone is that good in the Premier. Everyone's got problems this year where we should at all think, why aren't we one of the top 3 teams to win the FA Cup or the Premier League? Might not be the favourite, but we've got over 10% chance. And to me, that's not worth risking missing. I genuinely picture like what the high road will be like with the parade. And I've been through every segment. I've been through, what if Arsenal win the Prem and we win the FA Cup? Can we still enjoy that bus parade? What if we win the Prem and they win the FA Cup? Does it just take away all the joy of their FA Cup? What if we do the double? Like, I've been through everything in my head. How am I going to get on the pitch, being on the upper tier of the South Stand, when we score the winning goal against Arsenal in April to win the league with 3 games to go? How am I going to get on the pitch in time before the fucking stewards block me? Been through it all, because we are winning the league and we are doing the double this year. So...
Jim, you've just screwed me up. I'm going to have to go back and see return flights because I forgot about the parade.
Just make sure...
I'm going to have to book a couple of days later.
Exactly.
Damn it.
And it's typically 24 hours after the fixture, so I've looked that up as well.
I need to come home on Monday, Oh, never mind.
It'll be the Sunday.
Yeah.
Book a day off work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, just that Arsenal game is going to be huge, isn't it?
It's going to be massive, man.
The one... Even if things go south for us, which they won't, but they could.
But we could fuck them up.
We could ruin it for them.
No, we could absolutely do that to them.
Yeah, we could ruin it for them. And it would be brilliant.
Or we win the title, beating them, and then beat them in the cup final as well for the double.
Can you imagine? My cortisol levels, though, would just be like going through that as a season. Oh my God. But it's possible. It's not just possible, it's kind of almost likely.
Definite. It's like we've got a time traveller here in Stu. Where's he from?
But Johnny, I think we should get back on topic to Brian Hill a second. Go on, get your face.
Hill's a bit of a mosquito, isn't he? Well, he's annoying, but largely ineffective.
Go on, Sashi.
The way I look at it is Johnson on the left, I don't think is particularly very good. And yet Gilles is still behind Johnson, and that's his position. The way I see it is Ange really doesn't want to play him, and that's enough for me. Same with Højbjerg.
He's just... I think it was like, there's been some backwards and forwards in the WhatsApp group today. And I think, I can't remember who made the point, but it's really valid around... if you're going to be that slight, you have to be ultra skillful. You have to have a different level to your game. And Hill hasn't got that. He's got some skill about him. He's got some pace about him, but he hasn't got the Modric skill. He hasn't got that next level skill that those small, slight players have to have in order to get away with their fragility. And he just hasn't got it. And you saw him, bouncing off the Burnley defenders when he was trying to get the ball back. It's just unfortunate that he's got enough skill to be a good footballer, but not enough skill to take him past that lightweight status, you know?
Yeah. But as both of our missuses always tell us, size doesn't always matter. And
but you've got to have the skill to use it, though.
Yeah. But Luka Modric proved that size doesn't always matter.
No, but
as
he was
Johnny
a
touched
swordsman.
on earlier. But he was. Yeah, he was. I can't dig down this rabbit hole too much of calling him a 2-inch pile driver and everything else. But anyway, gone way off topic. But no, to rule him out because of his physicality is probably really harsh. But he just doesn't have much pace either, really, to make up for it, or enough technique to make up for it.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got to have something else other than the physicality that sets him apart, and he doesn't really. He's sort of like, he's in that level of elite players that can play in an elite side, but he hasn't got that extra bit that takes him above that, so that he can survive, especially in the Premier League. You stick him back in Spain, and he'll do much better in Spain than he does here because of the physicality of our game.
Yeah, and the time they have in the ball there as well. Like in England, you just don't have any time at all to make decisions. And I think of like the likes of David Silva in the past, who was an incredible player, and Bernardo Silva as well. Diminutive players who they have another level of skill, but also like the decision making. I think like with Brian Hill, he doesn't seem to be as decisive. Like the passing that those boys that I mentioned, the City players had, like they just see things and they would have conviction about it. It's like Heel is nowhere near that, I'm afraid. Like, he's obviously done a really good job when he's been with. Was it Valencia? Or was it Valencia? Sevilla, yeah.
He did okay, but particularly on his second spell, he didn't set the world alight, did he?
No.
To be fair, you can't fault his attitude. He gives it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think he's got the physicality to make it.
Just one thing on Johnson, and I know you said still on the left, he doesn't look as good on the left as he does on the right, and I get that. But I just wanted to point out there were a couple of times in the game against Burnley where there was a ball that came sort of like over his right-hand shoulder, and he just took it in his stride on his right foot without even didn't even think about it. And if you've got that level of skill and that level of pace, he's only going to grow into the game. And if we can get him on the right, cutting into, I think getting to the byline on that right-hand side, playing those balls in over his shoulder with that level of skill, my God. It was like that goal he scored that was slightly offside, wasn't it? The first time. The way that he brought it down and then lashed it into the back of the net with his right foot. There's something there, mate, I tell you. And if we have him on the right and Werner on the left, I think you might have something there, because that then frees up Kulo and Lo Celso to rotate around that number 10 role until Maddison's back. I think there's something there,
Great. The fact we're about to sign Werner is just writings on the wall for Hill, isn't it? It's just saying
yeah, definitely.
But I still think you get 10 million quid, 15 million quid for Hill, and he'd go off and have a reasonable career in Serie A or
definitely good career.
Yeah, or in the Eredivisie or any other top 5 league. I think he'd do fine. He's not that bad.
Silverware.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, when he leaves us, he is guaranteed to win silverware, apparently. But that brings me on to another thing. There's a funny thing that if Eric Dyer has played enough games, because now it's 5 games, to technically he would win the Premier League and Bundesliga. He went to Bayern Munich and we won the Premier League this year, which is has that ever happened before?
Or he will win the Premier League only because Bayern are going to get pipped by Leverkusen.
Wouldn't that be hilarious that he is in the Bayern Munich dressing room holding up a Premier League medal in front of Harry Kane?
Exactly.
That would be brilliant.
That would just be magical, him walking around in his sliders with his Premier League medal on, and Kane's got nothing. Just
moonwalking out of the showers.
Like,
Harry, look at that, son. Look at that.
Excellent.
It would be very good. I put a thing out for questions during the recording of this pod, but we had a couple coming quite early and fast. So Should we
All right.
just go for him as well?
Yeah,
Just give.
Go on then.
I like Gav P. He asked us, after winning 2 out of 2 so far in Jan, how do we avoid the mini break disrupting our momentum? Is the break bad for us, do you think, guys?
No.
No.
I think it benefits us more than
Yeah.
any other club in the league, except for maybe
Newcastle.
Man United, who it equally
And-
benefits.
And
Or
Newcastle.
Newcastle, maybe.
And
Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it does, because if you think about it, we've only, we've got Man United, and then we've got the following weekend off. That's
Yeah.
the way it works? Is
When
it?
is the 4th round?
It's the weekend after that, because I think the league game against Brentford is a midweek at the very end of the month. So I think whatever in 3 weeks from now is the FA Cup next round.
Yeah, I think any time that we have where we can nurse these players back to some level of fitness, and he has time with them on the training ground, I think is beneficial. So no, I don't think it will halt the momentum. If you can have a momentum after 2 wins, I'm not sure, but I think it's beneficial for us. It gives him time to get players back, gives them time on the training pitch, and I think especially if we are going to have some new signings, I think it gives you time to get them bedded in a little bit more on the training pitch as well before you drop them into the first team. So I get the point, and I see the point he's making, but not in my book, no.
No, I don't think we've had great momentum that's getting us through games. I think we've been quite fortunate, despite all the injuries, and the way Ange sets us up always gives us a chance of getting through these games. And fortunately, you need a bit of luck as well when you're down on your knees with your squad.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stu, you're going to...
Just a quick one. I think Ian Wright made a good point. I don't like saying that he makes a good point because they're still, Gooner and that. But he's saying at the moment, Spurs are looking dangerous because we're hanging in. Because we've got so many problems, because we've got so many injuries and suspensions. We're hanging in, and if we can still be hanging in there when all of these suspensions are done, all of these injuries are done, and when the players come back from international duty in February, if we're still hanging in there, then we've got a real chance.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we've shown we can hang in there on our bare bones.
Yeah,
and
mate.
Yeah, in 2 weeks we won't be on our bare bones, so it's going to be. I think the winter break is going to be more beneficial for us than
I agree.
the majority of other sides. And then we had a question from Arnie on YouTube as well. Looks like we'll have choices soon in midfield, up front, and our defence. Who will be our starting 11, and who will be on the bench? There's 2 bits there, because there's who will be our 11 versus Man United versus who will be on the 31st versus Brentford. Because I feel like Van der Ven's not. This is where I get a bit of anxiety. Davies is potentially out injured. Van der Ven might not be fit to start. Oh, is he out for the game?
Well, I mean, Ange said he's done something to his hammy. So
yeah,
but it can just be that's a bit sore. Rest it up for a week, or it can be you're out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
It sounded like there was some damage to it rather than him just feeling it. I think from what because he said Lo Celso felt something, so they took him off as a precaution, whereas Davis, it sounded like there's an issue with it. It didn't sound like a big issue. Might be a couple of weeks, but it sounded more than just he felt something and it was a precaution.
So yeah, we could be in a situation whereby in 3 weeks' time we have got Dragusin, Davies, Van der Ven, Romero's also looking at being back, and Roy. You've got loads of options centre back. But for Man United, we could be in a situation where we've got a half-fit Van der Ven and Emerson Royale.
Lads, you're forgetting we've got Spence, Reggie, and now Cess back. We're sorted.
Well, Reggie, on a serious note, can't play for us. Otherwise, we can't sell him, can we?
Yeah.
Well,
right.
Because he can play for 2 clubs.
Can we?
No, you can't sell him.
He can play for 2 clubs in a season.
You can only play for 2 clubs in your within UEFA. He could get sold outside of UEFA, I think, but you can only play for 2 clubs in your own confederation in the one season, which is why bringing Scarlett back means that Scarlett will be getting game time with us because he's already played for us this season.
I thought that was a loan thing. I didn't realise it was also for selling. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's you can't play for more than 2 clubs in a season.
But with Werner coming in, Donnelly will likely go out on loan. I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't see us sitting them both. There won't be space for them all on the bench when everyone's back, unless we
No,
sell Hill.
and to be honest, I don't think it's a bad thing because he's not really getting much game time, and I think he's kind of outgrown the under-21s, so it's probably good for him to go get some
Yeah.
real men's football. And if he can have a successful one like Divine as opposed to Scarlett, then
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
He's a very big boy, isn't he? Like physically, he looks like he's a proper specimen for that position on the pitch. Like, be very excited about him, especially being Northern Irish. It's been nice to have. It's been a long time since there's been. Don't know if there's been anyone since Danny Blanchfleur. Pat Jennings, obviously, but
Yeah,
he was
Jennings,
a slightly different end
George
of the pitch.
Best.
Yeah, he didn't play for Tottenham,
Spurs,
did he?
did he?
Oh no, I suppose he played for
Yeah.
Fulham. He was in London somewhere.
Yeah.
But talking of other players that don't play for Spurs currently, Dragison's linked with us. I don't know if you always had time to do some research, but my understanding is his main strengths in defence are that he's very good at turning on a counter attack through really good direct passing when you're under pressure. Which I don't think we've got lots of players who can play short, simple passes in tight spaces and play out the back. We don't have anyone who really plays a long direct pass like Toby Alderweireld used to do, and that seems to be one of his strengths as a player, which I can imagine be super valuable. If you've got Werner bombing it down like Roadrunner, and we'll get onto him in a bit, he's kind of Mr. Rapid with not much end product, but you've got someone hitting balls into his feet. That could be super valuable, but then he also fits the mould that he can play a simple pass, and he's quite an aggressive centre back. Does anyone else have anything to add about him? Stu,
I've seen him a few times, but I think he's a very solid defender. But obviously Genoa play a very different style to the way we play, so it's hard to understand how he would fit in with Ange because it is completely different. The only thing I can think is, as you were saying, Jim, that obviously the data analysts at the club have done their homework. So if we are really, and it's not just his agent doing a lot of talking, if we are really after him, then clearly there must be underlying data that shows that he can fit in. He is one of their better defenders. I mean, he always comes through with, being one of the best players on the pitch for them.
Yeah, I looked at you get the show reels batted about on Facebook, etc. And he looks pretty quick. He looks quite agile. I think there's a physicality about his game where he might come unstuck a little bit in our game. So it's good that he's physical and strong, but he uses that quite a lot. And I looked at some of the saving tackles that he was making, and some of those he wouldn't get away with in the Premier League at the moment, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think he'd need to tidy that part of his game up a little bit. But he looks big, he looks strong, he looks capable. But I don't think we know enough about Genoa to know how good he actually is, and the data people are looking at it, and if Ange is rubber stamping it, then at the moment I'm inclined to go along with the boss, if I'm honest.
We have all gotten to that point of, well, Ange says it's all right, so I agree with him because we're just so trusting in it. But there was a tweet going around, it's like a term people use where it's like, for a certain footballer who has failed continuously and repeatedly over and over again for other clubs, but you manage to convince yourself, but it will work out for us. And you go through the same coping, almost like we did for Mourinho when he was going to become our manager. We were like, shut up, United fans. You don't get it. Shut up, Chelsea fans. Yeah. It's different. It's different.
Is us.
This is us. And we're getting that with Werner, aren't
we? It's difficult, isn't it? Because we all took the piss when he was at Chelsea, didn't we?
We did. We did. But I don't think any of us are expecting him to go and score 10, 15 goals a season.
But his stats aren't that bad when you look at his Chelsea stats. They're not as bad as what you think they are. So he had four in 89 appearances. He had 44 goal involvements, which isn't too bad. A goal involvement every other game is not so bad. We just remember the misses that he made, and I'm guessing Chelsea fans do. But I was messaging a Chelsea mate of mine yesterday when it was sort of coming out, and he was saying, "Listen, in your system, he'll be a really good signing for you." He said he said at Chelsea he wasn't as bad as what everybody thought he was. He just had a couple of glaring misses, and that sort of tainted him. But to be fair, he's a Champions League winner, and there ain't many of them about. And he started that game for Chelsea. He must have something about him.
I think the difference as well is that when he came into Chelsea, he was one of the hottest prospects in Europe, wasn't he? And Stu was saying before we were recording about that February. I remember it was I was at the Champions League game when he scored the penalty in the home leg in the last 16, I think it was, in the Champions League that year. And even though it was a penalty, but he was like purring that season. He was really we were worried about it, because I think at that point he'd already done a pre-agreement with Chelsea, so he committed to them quite early, and you're thinking, geez, like they're got some proper player here. It's a bit like when Torres went to Chelsea and then completely flunked. It was like, when's Werner going to score, kind of thing. And the more it went on that he wasn't scoring the goals, the more pressure, and with the price tag and everything that went with that. So we've got a completely a far less risk kind of situation, because he's coming in with nothing like the same pressure from a financial outlay point of view from us. Clearly, the man, he really wants to have another crack at the Premier League. He obviously seems to be very keen on playing with Postecoglou. Like Stu was saying before, we anybody that Ange wants, we're just going to trust in whatever he sees. And I'd be quite excited about him, because he's obviously like got a huge amount of ability. And you sort of look at some of the boys that we've got. Not too many players go from Chelsea to Spurs, even if they go via somewhere else. But the likes of Gudjonsson came in a transfer window, a January transfer window, I think a long time ago, did a good job with us. And then there was Scotty Parker came in and did a good job. So if Werner can come in and do anything as well as, even close to as well as they did, I mean, I'd be quite hopeful that he's going to make a big difference.
I mean, to be fair, he's not the only striker that's gone to Chelsea and flopped, is he?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they got a real track record of destroying centre forwards. Shevchenko, Pizarro, De Santo, Sturridge, Torres, Lukaku, Bamford, Demba Ba.
You're forgetting Mo Salah as well.
Eto'o. There's plenty of centre forwards that have gone there. Morata was like one of Europe's finest, and he went there and just absolutely bombed. So I think the point being is, if the data guys are seeing something there and Poch is validating the loan, then listen, low risk, high reward, isn't it?
Well, I agree. And there's like some stats here, like Salah played 12 league games for Chelsea and scored 0 league goals. And then he went to obviously Liverpool and absolutely tore the world alive. It's supposed to be. But I think it's a bit of a stupid comparison. I'm not saying Werner's going to become Mo Salah at 27 years old, but he's a low risk loan.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing. It's a loan. He's coming as backup, because otherwise we're playing Scarlet if anything happens to Richie. So to me, it's just a low risk, no brainer. I mean, and if he works out, we're laughing.
Back before the Chelsea transfer. Yeah, back before the Chelsea transfer, Liverpool were in for him as well. There was a bit of a battle between Liverpool and Chelsea, and I reckon if he'd have gone to Liverpool, you'd have seen a different player.
Yeah. He's one of those weird players that it's like Lukaku. Everywhere he goes, he gets a load of stick for being rubbish, missing loads of chances. But when you look at his stats on paper, his goal contributions are a goal or an assist every other game. And Werner's pretty much the same. And every 2 years, every club goes, get out, you're useless. And it's like, but you paid me 30 times and I contributed 15 goals. And I replaced you with someone worse on paper. But it's weird, isn't it?
I think his pace and his pressing will work for us as well, because he's got pace to burn and he can operate in a press. He's got so much energy. And so if he's there and he's committed and we've got that speed up on that left wing that can stretch the game and he can get in and press, then I think you've got what have you got to lose, really, given what we've got on that left-hand side at the moment?
The thing I like as well is apparently the deal was done really, really quickly, because he's really keen to join us, which also, also bodes well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And also, you've got the Euros coming up, and he's see an opportunity to get into the German squad for that. So it's a big motivation for him too. So yeah, lots of reasons to be hopeful.
Just hope that in the medical fellas that there's a massive hamstring test that they're doing at the moment. That they don't get a violin bow out and play it. Do you know what I mean? Well, get a tune out of that.
Yeah, there was it? It wasn't Ange's comments. It was someone who followed Ange longer than we did, basically saying that like at Celtic they had the same hamstring problem, and at Brisbane War they had the same hamstring problem. Everywhere it goes, and there's like it's just described as needing the bodies of the players to adapt to the system, and typically in the second 6 months of his tenure, the players that he started with stop getting those recurring injuries because their bodies adjust to it. It's kind of like we go out for a run. We've all been there. You're like, that's it, shape. Going to do my 10K, and you go and just run 10K on your first day. The next day you're just completely broken and you can't run again for 3 weeks. But you got to ease into it, build a baseline for your body, let it adapt, and really take the time with these things. And it's the same with all these pro athletes. They've got to do that. So, but I think that's it, boys. We're going to sit the main pod for probably Tuesday, Wednesday. So, yeah, if you want to have your question read out for that pod, anyone, just you can follow us on Twitter, which is @OSOSpurs, and you can put your questions there. We'll ask, or just subscribe on YouTube, and we also put a poll out for a kind of questionnaire out for questions, which you can put them on there. We'll read them out. I've also got some new merch and stuff under this video. You can see it if you're watching on YouTube. The website is terrible. It looks like you're about to get scammed, but I promise you it's real. It's just that
I promise it's not a scam.
I promise. It's just that I'm not going to spend 20 quid, 30 quid a month on a subscription when we order this for free for some legit looking website. So it's the free one. Deal with it.
Just to be sure, it's not a scam.
It's not a scam. You just need to put your mother's maiden name.
It's definitely not a scam.
The last 3 digits on the back of your card.
What was your first car?
And the 3 digits on the back of your card.
Yeah.
And then just let me know that.
And then we're all good, but it's not a scam.
It's not a scam. No. Trust me. Trust me.
Trust me.
Mate.
Trust me, mate. No, but seriously.
Would I do that to you?
But seriously, it's not. It's just shit. Like when you click on it, I realized people were like, we had like over 100 people click on the mugs I made for Ange, like with Ange sticking his tongue out. But when you click on the link, it takes you to a completely random different website of a sticker of sun.
Yeah.
But it's not what they're after, and then people just leave. So you've got to actually go back, scroll back down, and go back to your mug. I think you have to click it 3 times until you actually get to it.
So what you're saying, Jim, is we're making it really difficult for people to give us money.
Yeah.
They're the websites I love.
Yeah,
those are the ones I love.
Yeah.
So persevere.
I'm sitting here waving cash. Take my money. No, it's all right, mate.
You can have a sun shirt just like me.
Exactly. Now, if it was a scam, we'd have had your money already.
Exactly.
But this isn't sun, by the way. This is because copyright. Okay, we got a picture of sun. We sketched over it with our hands. We uploaded it to a computer. We put the colours in, and we removed any Tottenham logos. And it's just a guy who looks exactly like Sun, who's also called Sun.
We're like
Pro also likes to celebrate like Sun.
Pro Evo soccer, aren't we?
But it's not Sun. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the show. If you're not, if you're on the audio version, I probably can't be bothered to put the link. I will put the link in. I'll put the link into the episode details, and you can give your phone a virus going through the whole process of trying to find this t-shirt. No, it's safe.
Yeah.
It's safe, and it's not a scam.
No.
It's not a scam.
But if I've got NordVPN, then it's worth putting that on, like all our competitors are advising you to do. It's another one of the perks.
Well, to be honest, if you lot would bloody subscribe instead of just watching the videos,
if you would like and subscribe, ding ding,
we wouldn't need to sell t-shirts because YouTube would pay us more money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Yes, you lot.
You lot.
on, boys.
If anyone's still listening.
This is when you look at the analytics and the viewers just fall off a cliff on the last 5 minutes.
You're missing out on the best bits here, boys.
And the
girls.
unsubscribe button gets hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think it's 30% on average on a YouTube video stay to the or a podcast stay to the end, and ours is about the same. So about 30%. So if you are part of the 30%,
we love you.
We love you.
Done. Let's hope you're fully functioning adults.
Yeah, as long as you're still awake.
yeah, exactly. Great for insomnia.
Oh, fellas.
Up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs. Come on.